To record.
All right.
All right. So, um, welcome to the podcast. And I want to start off by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, your age, where you're from, just, for
Basic stuff.
basic stuff. Exactly.
Well, my name's Lauro Alvarez, but it's pronounced Lauro Alvarez. I was born in Texas, in Hidalgo County,
Hmm.
1958. So
1958. So
I had the
how?
luxury of working all my life as a kid, and you learn a lot of work ethics because my dad was not a mean guy, but he was strict. And if you didn't work, guess what? You didn't eat.
How old were you when you started working?
Five,
Five.
5 years old, working with
Okay.
my dad.
What were you doing?
I was stacking grass
Okay.
because at those years, California had just started irrigating and making all these dams,
Yeah.
but they didn't have any grass because it was all desert.
Okay.
So what they got a company over there in Texas to start um, harvesting Texas grass, which is a thick blade, but it doesn't need a lot of water.
Hmm.
And being in the desert, I mean, it's almost like a match. So my dad would cut it in squares, and I would get it and stack it in fives, five here, five there, and then two on top.
Okay.
And and that was like, and then I would write it down. But the only way I knew how to do numbers was fence posts. That's why I learned to count.
Wow.
So you put your fence post, and then you cross it.
So you did that while you went to school? Yeah, like
I
after
didn't
school?
I didn't go to school till 6 years old because
6 years
in
old?
Texas
Yeah.
they didn't have no preschool or kindergarten. You're 6 years old. You start in the first grade.
Okay.
So I got the luxury of working before I even went to school.
But there you go.
But in a way, because everybody had their little notebooks for their tally, while they see my dad would give me his, and I would write down every amount that he would do. That way, he'd come back and count it all over, because I would write it exactly how he showed me. And so the guy next to him said, "Well, you know what? Tell your son if he wants to do mine." And then the next time, the next time. So four guys, and I was doing their tally. Well, at the end of the week, each one would give me $1.
That's good.
So
So you made some extra money.
yeah, a lot. Because
Yeah.
$1, you could buy a half gallon of ice cream, a couple of sodas, candy
Yeah.
bars, and still have all kinds of money left over.
How many siblings did you have?
Well, I had six brothers and three sisters, but at that time, I only had my brothers and one sister in
Okay.
Texas.
Okay. So your siblings were older than you?
Well, three of them were, and
Okay.
three weren't. I was
Okay.
right in the middle.
Okay.
I was a hub in the wheel.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean, don't get me wrong. I love being around my younger siblings, but they were boring for me. So I used to go hang out with my older
older ones.
brothers, and not trying to get in trouble, but just to have some kind of different fun.
So you grew up in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you leave Texas?
When I turned 10, my dad got tired because we used to follow the crop.
Yeah.
We used to go from Texas to Oklahoma to Kansas to Nebraska to Minnesota, following the corn crop. But it only lasted like 2 weeks, so like we're just stationary. Everywhere we went, they had labor camps.
Yeah.
Well, when I was 9, my dad decided, you know what, it's too much for your mom to be moving all the way up there and then coming all the way back down. So we left the house in Texas to my aunt, and my dad decided to buy a house in Kansas, which was like midpoint of all the traveling. So we moved over there, and we were still working in the fields, but at least it was more convenient for us, be going north and going south and all those places.
Okay. So you would always come back to Kansas.
Yeah,
Okay.
my dad started buying the property and stuff,
Okay.
but that was short lived too because the interstate, well, the town that we lived in was only 200 people.
Okay.
Well, the interstate bought the main highway coming in and decided to make a super highway bridge to go from Kansas to Missouri. And you could see where they were going to build it because you could see across from one state to the other
Yeah.
where the Missouri River crossed. Well, that's what they decided to do. So everybody's house that was there, the government just took it over. They gave you what they gave you, and that was it.
So what happened then?
Well, my dad eventually He got killed over there when we were living in Kansas. Some guy used to work with, I got in a fight with him and shot him, killed him right there in our front yard.
How old were you when that happened?
I was, I think I was going to turn 10 barely,
Oh wow.
because that was the same year that we started staying there. And so my mom didn't want to be there anymore, and I don't blame her. I mean, you would see where they killed him and everything every day. Who wants to see that?
Yeah.
So we moved to Washington with her sister. Told us, well, there's houses over here, you guys can work and stuff. But she never warned us about the cold weather. But in Kansas, it gets cold too, so it's not like it was a news flash to us. But my mom being alone and stuff, my aunt helped us for as much as she could. But my uncle, he was real negative all the time, like we were some bastard kids now. And so, we kind of got along with him, but we didn't really rely on him for anything.
So like I guess what kind of an impact or how did you feel when that happened to your dad when
Well,
he was killed?
it kind of soured my life for a long time. My mom, I would listen to my mom and my mom only. Whatever anybody else said, I wouldn't pay attention. I didn't care. People would come take us to church. I go, you know what? You ain't my dad. You're not my mom. I ain't going with you nowhere. And my mom tried to get me, nope. If you go, then I go. If you don't go, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Because you get in your mind, well, if I don't stay here and protect my mom, who is?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay. And so you moved from Kansas to Washington State?
yeah, the state of Washington.
Okay.
And my
Where?
little sister was born there
Okay.
in Prosser.
So all your siblings, everyone, you guys all moved together, right? Like.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then how? Until what age did you live in Washington State?
So I was in eighth grade, which I think probably 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, we came back this way because my mom couldn't take the cold anymore because she was the type that any little chill, she'll be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the doctor, because of my dad's murder, had her taking Seroquel, which at that time was experimental, mental drug. And my mom would take it and knock out for 3 4 days.
Yeah.
So I had to take care of my little sister,
Mm.
and I would feed her and bathe her and feed everybody else that was there. And I mean, it was a chore, but I didn't mind because I know my mom needed help.
So you started cooking for the family?
Yeah,
Like.
that's right. I started learning how to cook,
Yeah.
and then we'd go fishing just so we could have something else to cook.
Yeah.
Because come on, chicken and hamburger gets tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Okay. And then you eventually moved to California.
yeah, we moved over here. My dad's brother kept insisting we come over here because as many as we were, because you'll make a lot of money, guys, and blah blah blah. It was all bullshit
Yeah.
because we made more than they did because we were hard workers already.
Yeah.
We didn't even know what it mold us. My dad already had did that, but he eventually got jealous of us because he had, I think, 6 kids, and there was only us 6 kids because my two youngest never worked with us.
Yeah.
So he'd get mad because we'd make more than they did, more trays picking grapes, more, more rolling, more everything than they did, and we didn't have nobody telling us, "Hey, well, hurry up, because we already knew we had to do it.
So how old were you guys? Like with your
I,
siblings? Like you guys sound like you were a crew together. So like.
well, yeah, because my oldest brother was living with us at the time. He's a year older than I am,
Okay.
and then my sister is a year younger, and then my following brother's 2 years younger, and the other one's another 2 years, and then the other one 3 years.
Okay.
So
So you're similar in age. It's not like there's a 10
yeah,
year
there's
gap.
not there's the only gap was between me and my youngest sister, which I helped raise, and she was born in '71,
Yeah. Okay.
and that's when we came over here. After she was born, we came over to California.
So you're like 13 years apart.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly
Okay.
13 years because she was born in the same month I was born in August.
Okay.
So
And where's she at now?
she lives in Sanger,
Okay.
but I mean she's in her own. She has her own problems. She's sick too. She had leukemia, and she's had it for a while already.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Um. So it seems like you've you went through a lot even as a child, and you did a lot of work. you did a lot from what you're telling me,
Yeah.
and I'm just wondering, you know, what how did that shape you? Like,
Well, at
what?
first,
Yeah.
at first, I used all that negative energy for work. So I would say, well, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? And I'll put myself to work. But later on, when I had my family, it was like, well, now I need to do it for my family. In the first 5 years of my life, I worked 6 days a week just so we could have enough for my family. And we bought a house. By the time I was 25, we bought our first house.
Good for you.
And
Yeah.
everybody was, you're not going to be able to. I go, man, don't tell me what I can do.
So it instilled that like work ethic.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got it. You got to. You got.
Into them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um. So my second question is, so how old are you now? 58 to now? I'm
67.
67. You've seen a lot in your 67
Oh,
years.
yeah.
What are some of the most interesting things you've seen in your life?
Interesting. I don't know about interesting, but uh, changes I never expected. When I was a kid, everything was in brown paper bags. All of a sudden, here comes somebody with plastic containers.
Mm.
For the milk, for the sodas, for everything. And we're used to drinking out of bottles,
Hmm.
bottled Pepsi, milk bottles, and
Yeah.
all that.
Glass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and supposedly it was supposed to be sanitary, but that's what we thought, and a lot of it wasn't.
Hmm.
And then they started making all these plastic bags for the groceries, and I tell my granddaughter, I go, "You guys are lucky. We never had that. You can put the milk gallon in the refrigerator where it wouldn't get all soaking wet because they were still using cardboard for the milk.
Oh wow. Yeah.
If you didn't have milk bottles, you used the cardboard, and it gets wet because they didn't put a lot of wax on them. They only
Yeah.
put in minimal, and the milk's only supposed to last you a week. And that was one of the biggest changes I tell my granddaughter. And then the cost of living, I think it went from, I want to say from like 1962 to about 66, almost double that I
Wow.
remember, because my mom would give me a quarter, go to the store, buy tortillas and buy this, buy that. Well, pretty soon with the quarter was barely enough for the tortillas.
Yeah.
And we had a store in Texas like almost at the end of every block. Well, pretty soon that store was gone. Then the next store was gone. And when we took off to Kansas and came back, all the stores were closed down. The only thing that was still open was the tortilleria.
Wow.
And I got to know that man later on here because he ran one in Sanger. Well, that man, his dad was the original owner. He ended up inheriting it, and he went to school with my mom. That's how I got to know him, because one day my mom asked me, "Is that guy his name Ray?" And I go, "I think so." He goes, "Oh, he owns La Morena." And I go, "In Sanger?" I go, "I think so, yeah." Tell him I said hi. And I go, "Who would I tell him said hi?" Because he doesn't know you by your full name.
Yeah.
Josephine. Tell him Fina Alvarez. I go, "All right." So I told him, he goes, "Oh, I haven't heard that name in years. How is she doing now?" "She's doing good. She lives right down the street." He goes, "Wow, it's a small world, because I never thought ever in my life I'd ever hear her or see her, anything like that." And
Wow.
yeah, she knew a lot of people. She went to school with Ramon Ayala.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
So what happened to all the stores? Why did they all close?
the economy.
And
I think it was right after World War I.
mm,
Everything started just prices started going all crazy. Because I remember the price of gas was less than 30 cents, and about a few years later it was 35.
mm,
And I mean, people, they can only go so far with and we're working in the fields in Kansas, in Texas, and a box of corn which had 6 dozens, we're getting paid a quarter to pick that.
okay.
A quarter. Can you imagine?
That's not much.
It's not,
Not by, not by today's
but it's better
standards.
than starving.
Yeah.
And we did that for, I want to say, 8 years. But by the eighth year, we're getting $1.50, which was a big increase, but still wasn't a lot because everything else went up.
Yeah.
So
Were your parents born in the U.S.?
My mom was.
Okay.
She was second generation, born in Texas.
Okay.
My dad was from Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, but he got. I think in the early '60s or the mid '60s, he was in that Bracero program where they let him come for 6 months with a permit, and my mom and them would help fix his papers so he could come back the following year.
Hmm.
Well, 1 year he didn't go back
Hmm.
because they ended up getting married. So he wasn't hiding from them, but he also wouldn't go up there. "Hey, well, I'm not from here. You're not going to go rat yourself out."
Yeah.
But the immigration wasn't so stringent like it is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting his passport when we lived in Kansas before he got killed. And he was proud of that.
He sure worked hard for it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that you know you other than the prices and the economy and things like that,
Well,
the political changes, anything like that that you think?
well, like I say, politics was not ever my thing. But when they shot JFK, I remember every Mexican that I knew was crying.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Wow, because everybody thought he was for the people, which I think so too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
everything good for everybody is not good for somebody.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you get a leader that's
Ahead of his
people
time.
exactly, and people remember them for a
Yeah.
very long time.
Oh yeah.
I think JFK was one of those people, whether you agreed with them or not.
Yeah, but he knew how to talk to people at their level where they understood what he was really trying to say.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a Mexican that I knew that didn't have a picture of him somewhere.
Yeah. So my next question is sort of about life events, or things that happened to you or things that you've done
Hmm.
that shaped you or stand out to you, right? And I'm wondering if we can like take a chronological approach to that. Just like walk me through. So, you know, you talked about your childhood.
Yeah.
You grew up, between Texas, Kansas, Washington State, and then California.
Yeah.
And then what happened next? Like, can you just walk me through,
Well,
you
when
know,
we were still in Texas, before I started school, I didn't realize this, but I learned it when I went to school. You couldn't speak Spanish in school;
hmm
they would paddle you. And then I didn't have dress shoes. You had to,
well, they would beat you.
yeah,
So that was still a thing back then.
yeah.
Okay.
It was. I started school in '64, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways, and if you didn't have dress shoes, they would tell you not to wear tennis. Cause, well, we couldn't even afford tennis, but they would tell you go barefoot, and the welfare or somebody would get your shoes, but the shoes didn't always fit. So we went through that struggle, and I found like when we moved to Kansas, there was not that kind of not racism, but that restriction where because come on, you're in Texas, you're gonna speak Spanish because Mexico's just right there.
Yeah.
Kansas was they were more lenient because to them it's like they're just foreigners. Well, they don't know any better.
Yeah.
But they were a lot kinder than the people in Texas.
hmm
They didn't paddle you for that. If you got in a fight, of course they're gonna paddle you. That back then.
hmm
But then when they changed the law, well, I was never a troublemaker. But my brother, he flunked in first grade when we were together. So we went second and third grade together, fourth grade, and he would give the teachers heck. I mean, he didn't care. And they would paddle him all the time and he would just laugh
hmm
because nobody spanked him like my dad spanked him.
Okay. So how old were you when you got married?
I think I just turned 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you meet your wife? And
In school.
what was her name?
Maria Rosario.
Okay. So you guys
Yeah,
met in high
we
school?
met in high school, but I was about ready to graduate
Yeah.
when her friends told me that, because I would give a lot of my friends used to play on the girls volleyball,
Mm.
so I would give them a ride home in my car. And one day they brought this one girl, and I go, "Who's that?" Well, she plays on the volleyball team. I'm like, "Oh, we'll get her in." And we got her, and after a while, it was just me, my best friend, her, which is my future wife, and another another like little sister. There's only four of us. So I would drop off my friends first and drop her off last. And see what I was like, how can you never talk to me? I go, talk to you about what? You know, because I didn't play like I want to get to know you or anything like that. I would just, to me, I was just giving them a ride home.
Yeah.
You know, and in a sense, like being a gentleman, because
Mm-hmm.
they invited her. Well, I'm not going to tell my best friend. No, I'm not going to take her.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't like that. But a couple of times, a few years later, when I was coaching Little League, she started showing up to the games, and her uncles were playing, and they were playing on the same team, but they used to fight each other on the field in the game. They were embarrassing, those guys. I would go out there and get them by their shoulders. And I go,
These are your brother-in-laws.
my brother-in-laws. They were
Yeah.
kids still.
Yeah.
They were 9, 10, and if one would make an error, the other one would be out, come out of the outfield. What the hell's wrong with you? You should have caught that ball. I go, hey, take your position. And I wasn't even a coach, but they used to make me mad because the way they acted.
Yeah.
We were never like that with our brothers.
Yeah.
You help them out.
Yeah.
These guys would start swinging at each other. Now, grandmother shirt collar. I go, you know what? You go sit down. You go back out there where you go. But I don't want to hear it. It's the only reason I would listen because I know you kick my ass. I go, that's damn right. That's what I'll do. So they'll go out there, and then later on the other one will go up. Okay, I'm ready to go. Okay, I don't want you yelling at him. I don't want him yelling at you. If you guys keep yelling, I'm gonna switch you to a different team.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right. So little by little, start working together.
So you coached Little League as a
about
young
10
man?
years. Yeah, I was. I think I was barely 21, maybe.
Okay.
And I coached for like 10 years, Little League.
Okay. For 10 years. And then, so you got married at 18 or you met your wife at 18?
No, we met in high school when I was 16 or 17.
16. And then you got married when you were 18?
Yeah,
Okay.
she was barely. She was gonna be 17,
Okay.
but we had her grandfather's permission to get married,
Okay.
which we didn't even use until later on, until she was born.
Okay.
So
And then when did you have, how old were you when you had your first child? When you had
I was 20 already.
20?
Yeah.
Okay. And Stephanie is the eldest? Okay.
Yeah. She was the firstborn.
Okay.
Yeah, but because when we got together, we lived together, but we didn't have any kids for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say I was 20.
Okay.
But her grandma was the one that was kind of a pain in the butt because she goes, well, what do you expect? He was raised in the projects. I go, you know what? Being raised in the projects or being raised in the gutter, as long as you have a job, know how to take care of your family, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And she never agreed with me. But she was in her mindset because she got divorced. Her husband divorced her. She was bitter.
So I guess my question is, what were you thinking when you got married? Like what was your I want to say motivation, but like what were you hoping to create but through your marriage, through having a family? Like what was?
Well, basically trying to have a better life than I had before.
Yeah.
I have a happier life.
Yep.
And that's why I used to work so much because I don't want to be old and still working 6 days a week when I could do it when I was young and tolerate it and put up with it and do it. So that in my mind is like, you know what? Right now I might suffer and stuff, but later on I'll get to enjoy it. And so it kind of worked out for me.
And then when did you have your second child?
A year after her.
Okay.
Yeah, they were exactly 11 months apart to the
11
day.
Wow.
Yeah, because she's May 2nd, he's April 2nd.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but they're totally different personalities. Yeah, but I mean, my son eventually learned to listen. It's just like everybody's son. They don't listen the first time, but after a while, it kind of wears into their brain. Hey, my dad don't like me doing this. I better not be doing it.
So what's your son's name?
Christopher.
Christopher. So how are they different? How are they each other?
Well, he was more of a stubborn kind of kid.
Yeah.
And you had to show him or prove to him that what he was doing was not good. And her, just by giving her lectures, she was, you know.
She would listen
Yeah,
easier.
yeah. And at some point when she was little, I'll be at work. My wife goes, "What time are you coming home?" I go, "Why?" "Your daughter's crying her ass off all this." I go, "Well, cuddle her, do something." I tried and she just cries more. I go, "Well, she must feel something bad about you." "No, you're crazy." I'll get home. As soon as I got her, I'll just pick her up.
She's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah. Maybe she just wanted her dad.
maybe.
Yeah. Uh,
But I never when I had the kids, I was never tense.
yeah.
I was relaxed because I raised my younger siblings, so you can't have that because they feel the intensity, they feel the nervousness.
Yeah.
You got to be secure. You got to be sure of yourself.
Yeah. I get a sense that you're a lot more mature for your age when you were in like your 20s
Oh
than a
yeah. All
regular,
right, well,
20-year-old because of all the things that you had lived
exactly.
through,
Yeah.
you know?
And as far as being a teenager, I went like this.
Yeah.
I never really,
Because you were taking care of people, you were figuring out
yeah,
how to move because you had
and
lost your dad,
yeah,
all of that.
that plus my mom, in a way, she gave me a lot of responsibility because she bought me a car. I was 14 years old,
Yeah.
and that car was everything to me.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, to me, not that I deserved it, but I think I earned it.
Mm. So, you know, I guess what else kind of shaped your life? Like what, you had a family,
Yeah,
you got married,
yeah.
you had
Well, when
you
my
had two.
wife got real sick,
Yeah.
she needed a liver transplant back in 1992, and so we put on the list. But it was kind of a shock when we went to the doctor and they told us something's wrong with her liver. I'm like, how is that? She don't drink, she don't smoke. So well, sometimes people just get diseases because. And my mother-in-law was like, "Oh, they don't know. Let's go to a different doctor." I go, "Well, you know what? I'm still going to follow along those lines because friends of community, they don't have a lot of quacks. They have pretty good doctors,
Hmm.
and that's where I went to get my operation for my leg one time. But my mother-in-law didn't want to believe it, so I kind of like pushed her aside from me. And I told her, you know what? Let me deal with it since you can't mentally deal with it.
Yeah.
So we started going to San Francisco to the UCSF, and little by little, they kind of pinpointed what it was and stuff. And they tried different techniques without the transplant, but it was the techniques were not advanced enough where it took effect really good. One of them did, which was called stenting, where the binary ducts from the what do you call it, her biogland or whatever it's called, weren't going into the liver right. They were
Yeah.
all like they were shutting down. So they
Oh
put
wow.
the little things they're made out of.
Like with a camera, they were going there.
Yeah, but they cut her open. They put these stents,
Okay.
and the stents, I don't know if they were rubber or plastic, but what happened is they collapsed too because of the pressure.
They open up the arteries and the
Yeah,
veins.
well, it was not an artery. It was more like I don't know, like a tube. You know,
Okay. Something in the liver.
yeah,
Yeah.
it went from the gallbladder to the liver,
Yeah.
and it has like 6 openings. Well, all of them were all
Shutting
crumpled
down.
up. They were all crumpled up, and so she wasn't getting her function from the liver and the gallbladder. And they thought about removing her gallbladder, but then
How old was she when this happened?
uh, when it first started, I want to say she was probably not even 30. Yeah.
So what made you take her to San Francisco? Like,
Well, I got a lot of recommendations for her. Her first doctor was an old doctor. I thought he was a quack because he would sing and dance to all of whatever symptoms she would tell him. I'm like, what the heck? I go,
the doctor would
the
dance.
doctor, older doctor.
Okay.
He looked like the guy from, I don't know if you know Red Skelton. They had a
Yeah.
Dr. Cadiddle Hopper.
Yeah.
That's who he looked like.
Okay.
And I
And
told
that
I,
was here.
in Fresno.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, why would you waste your time going to that guy when you can tell he's not all there? And she goes, oh, that's just the way he is, his mannerism. I go, you know what? I'm thinking of a serious doctor. I took her to another doctor, and he goes, have you gone to Dr. So-and-so? I go, oh, that. And then with Dr. Falcone, I told her, yeah, we just left his place. I want a serious doctor because to me, he's like a clown. He goes, well, he might act like a clown, but he knows his gastroenterology like the back of his hand. I go, well, he didn't seem like it. And little by little, I got used to all his quirks.
Yeah.
But he started ordering the right blood tests and everything. And then he came with, he got that deduction that this is the problem. And I told him, okay, well, what's the solution? He goes, well, they got a liver transplant list. You could add yourself into there, put your wife in there. But I'm not going to say you're going to be the first 100 or the first 200 because it goes by how your symptoms are and how your body's reacting to shutdown. And so, wow, that's a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And so I go, wow, go ahead. So he wrote us down and stuff. And we started going to San Francisco for like every week to check your blood and
Yeah.
see how everything's going. And I went for about 8 years every Tuesday.
Wow.
So I was lacking in my job, but I told him, you know what? I'd rather save my life or save my wife than worry about you guys firing me because if
I
you fire
respect
me,
that. Yeah.
oh well, I'll just get my money back to the.
I forgot to ask you what did you do for work?
Well, when I first started in the grocery stores, because besides working in the fields,
Yeah.
because I picked cotton when I was a kid, and I picked that grass, and I mean everything except in Texas, there's not a fruit like here.
Mm.
There was oranges, but that's for the adults.
Yep.
They didn't let you because there were no ladders, so you had to climb the tree to get.
Yeah.
And so, but other than that, in Kansas, we'd pick corn, pick radishes, turnips, lettuce, spinach, jalapenos, tomatoes, cucumbers, anything you could eat
Yeah.
in a salad, we used to pick. But I mean, I would always tell myself, one day God's gonna make a machine for all this. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
But
So when you lived here though,
when I lived here,
yeah, would you?
I I was still in school, and my brother-in-law used to work in a grocery store.
Okay.
He was one of the stock clerks. Well, they caught him stealing beer, but he was smart enough. When he got fired, he seen me going home, and he goes, "Hey, you know that store I was working at?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Go apply over there because they fired me right now." I go, "Why'd they fire you?" He goes, "Because they caught me taking beer." He goes, and I told him, "Why were you doing that?" He goes, $1.50 an hour it's not a lot. I go, "Yeah, but it's steady money year round." And he didn't care about that. So I went home, changed, went back over to the store, and I talked to the lady at the register, and she goes, "How can I help you?" I told her, "Well, I heard you guys might be hiring somebody." She goes, "Hiring for what?" And I go, "Well, for grocery clerk." And she goes, "Well, not that I know of, but let me call." So she called the sister, which is tiny old Japanese lady. And she was back in the office, and she comes out, and she goes, "Oh, hi." And I told her, "Hi." She goes, "Have you worked in a store before?" I go, "Not really." She goes, "Well, what do you know how to do?" I go, "Well, I know how to sort vegetables because I had a big old vegetable, assortment." And she goes, "Oh yeah, what else can you do?" And I go, "Well, whatever you can teach me, I'll learn in less than a week. I'll tell you that." And they go, "Oh, okay. Are you still in high school?" I go, "Yeah, this is my last year." "Oh, okay. Maybe we could use you part time." She goes, "Come in tomorrow at 3:30." And they used to close at 5, so that only gave me enough time to clean up the vegetables and get them ready to cover them up
Yeah. For the
to
next
close
day.
to close the store.
Yeah.
But I was trimming all the lettuce, make sure it's get all fresh, and then cover it with bean sacks and wet it down. So the next day, the lady at the register, all she had to do was uncover it. Everything looked fresh, and she liked that because she didn't have to do all that cleaning.
Okay.
And then so she goes, "Hey, maybe you could come in Saturdays, Sundays during the day." And I told, "Well, what time do you guys open?" "Well, we don't open till 9." I go, "9? Why so late?" "Well, that's the way the owner likes it." I go, "Okay." So I started showing up, and all the produce they used to just put it in the front of
Yeah.
the store, and so I would pick it all up and take it inside and put whatever needs to go in the refrigeration and all that. Fill up the sodas, the beer, and then start trimming the vegetables and all that.
So did you do that kind of work while you were married too?
Well, before I got married, I did that.
You did
I
that.
got the
Okay.
job first, and then when we got together, um, the guy that was cutting meat was showing me how to do it but mostly just meat slicer, how to cut bologna a lot because
Yeah.
when he went on lunch, he wouldn't stay in the building. He would go home because he lived, just close by. So he taught me how to cut bologna, cheese, pepperoni, sausage, all kinds of little stuff for the deli, and even pepper jack cheese because a
Mm.
lot of the Asians like that with their crackers and sausage.
Yeah.
So I would cut all that and make a fresh look. And then he goes, "Hey, you did pretty good." Well, there's nothing else to do, He told me to do that, so I did it. So then he would come. Then little by little, he started showing me how to cut pork chops, how to cut, pork chops was hard because he did everything by hand,
Mm.
no saw, and you had to do it with a cleaver, so you can't miss.
Oh wow.
If you miss, you go,
There
you
goes your.
fracture a bone and it splits. And pork chop, I mean, looks good, but it's dangerous to eat it like that because
Yeah.
the slivers are
Yeah.
huge. And I got good at it where after a while I'll just one cut. My boss goes, "Hey, you did that pretty good. It took me 2 years to get that." And I go, "Well, I'm not you, but I want this job."
Yeah.
So the other guy ended up, uh, his wife got tired of coming up here because they weren't from Texas, but they were from across the border in Monterrey, but they wanted to open their own business in McAllen.
Okay.
So he bought his own store and he didn't come back.
Okay.
And so they put me in charge of the meat in that. So I was learning. And for the first year, my boss, he's a little Japanese guy, we were buying half beefs and you hang them on a rail like that and slide them down on a hook. And I would look at him and say, how does that little old man pick up a half a beef, take it inside the locker and just hang it like nothing? I mean, it took me, it
Yeah.
was like, man,
Like a half a cow.
half a cow.
Oh wow.
And one day I go, can I help you do that? He goes, sure. I thought it was gonna be easy, so I just, you know, put all my strength to it, and that thing's all wobbly and everything. What the heck? He goes, here, put it back. So I put it back. He goes, this is a trick to it. The bone that where your neck rests in your head,
Yeah.
it's called atlas bone.
Atlas bone.
Yeah, atlas, like the A atlas.
Yeah.
While you twist it either left or right, the rest of the back gets all stiff. And that
Mm.
was the trick. So I twisted, and man, you could pick it up like nothing because it was all solid then. It
I
wasn't
see.
all flimsy. And so after that, I'll just hang them like paper.
Okay.
And so, oh, at least you're, interested enough to learn how to do this. Because he set up people that they didn't care. They would just, wherever they landed,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but he saw that I took interest in it. So he started teaching me by hand. Everything for the first year, no saw. Everything with a handsaw, the cleaver, or just a knife.
Just
So,
so that you learn.
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And you had to learn, you had to count the ribs, where your T-bones and all that, your New Yorks. I mean, all that meat that's real quality, you had to find it because it wasn't like on the sign. There it is. You had to know where to look. And so once you learn that, you never forget it.
So how long did you do that for? Like
I
working
did it
there?
for 15 years.
15 years. Okay.
But with that guy for 5 years, because he sold the business, he had a triple bypass and he never came back the same.
Okay.
And he sold the business. So I went to go work for somebody else that's in town. And I worked for him for a while. But their way of cutting was everything on a saw.
Okay.
So to me, that was not even work because anybody could cut on a saw. You train a monkey to do what they were doing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I did that for 5 years. And I went to work for another, well, not her godparents, but my son's godparents. They gave me a job and I worked for them. And then finally, what is it called? Food for Less, that a chain market called Food King.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 10 stores and they put a new one right there in Portland. So I went and applied and they go, well, we already got a lot of applicants, but you've been doing this how long? I go, over 10 years. They go, come back tomorrow, you got the job. So I thought I was going to be the only one. I had a pile of monkeys in there, guys that only done it 1 year, 2 years. And I go, what are you going to do with these guys? Well, we're going to train them to trim, make hamburger and clean up. And I go, good, because I've done my share of cleaning up, in other
Yeah.
stores. And if you put me to do that, you might as well just sign my check because I'm gone. And they go, why? I go, come on, I've been doing it 10 years. You think I haven't learned how to cut meat
Yeah.
and how the show goes?
Yeah.
The lowest guy on the totem pole is going to be the guy closing. He's going to be the guy cleaning, and if everything goes wrong, he's the first guy to blame.
Okay.
And I don't want to be that guy.
Okay. Okay.
So, okay,
Go ahead.
when I was like 6 years old, before we moved to Kansas, we had this big old black dog that he'd only play with me. Everybody else, he always tried to bite. My brothers, my mom, my dad.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even mine. He was my dad's dog. But I would go out there and wait for the mailman, because the mailman used to bring bread and put it in the mailbox back in the day, because they didn't have a delivery truck.
Yeah.
And so I was waiting for him, and I was playing with the dog, and then I was on top of the curb, but then I remember stepping down because I was playing with the dog, and he was big, and he pushed me down. Well, when he pushed me down, here comes a car.
Ooh.
And it's a '67 Buick Skylark with long boats.
Yeah.
And I know the car inside out because when it hit me, I saw everything underneath.
Oh my God.
And the front bumper is like a W, has a point. Well, it broke my sternum.
Oh my God.
It broke my sternum, and I just remember.
How old were you?
Like 6 years old.
6 years old. Wow.
Yeah. And it broke my sternum, and I just remember hitting the ground so hard that I like kind of blacked out, but not for a long time, because then I opened my eyes. I go, what the hell? What am I doing under this car? So I crawled out from the back and went inside the gate and went inside the house. And my mom seen me all bloody, and she goes, "What's wrong with you? What happened? What happened?" And I couldn't say anything. I was in shock. So I just crawled in the bed, under the bed in the farthest corner where my mom couldn't reach me. So somebody called the ambulance, I guess, because I remember the paramedics showed up and everything. They took the bed apart to get me out of there.
You were traumatized.
Yeah, I was traumatized, and I was in the hospital. I want to say no shorter than 6 months, because they had to have this healed because my heart's right there.
Oh wow.
And they had me back in the days how they used to put a cast. Well, they put a cast with a stick right here so I wouldn't move my arm. And I had a body cast to here, all the way around. And the only thing exposed was this arm right here. So I had to learn how to write with my left for a while.
Oh wow.
And it was terrible. And then when I started going to school, everybody, what the heck? Frankenstein and all this and that. And
Yeah.
I would tell them, man, it might be funny at your end, but try it from my end.
It's not funny.
It's not funny at all.
As a 6-year-old, yeah.
Yeah, and I had that till I was almost 7. When they took it out, I couldn't put my hand out because it grew like stiff.
Yeah.
So they had me doing exercise, and oh man, it was excruciating.
Wow.
And I did it, and finally I got it to where then I could pick up a pencil, but I couldn't write because my fingers, the mechanics on it were it's like learning all over again.
Yeah.
And so I used my left for as long as I could, and then finally I just go, you know what, no more left hand. So I tied it up and started.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm right-handed, but
you were left-handed for a while.
For a while. I even learned to throw with my left.
That's pretty good though.
Yeah, but it's no fun. You can't throw as far.
Yeah.
And I have my older brother. He's ambidextrous. He could throw with both hands, both arms.
Wow.
And we used to play basketball. Hey, you can't use your left. Why not? But he was pretty talented.
That's yeah.
But that was when I was 6. A year or so later, or maybe not even, or maybe before then, I get the years confused because I don't think I was quite 8 years old yet. My mom was making donuts, and you made them at home in a frying pan, and you put oil, and you made your own flour, and you shaped them and put them in there. And she was using, I think it was Bisquick, or the ones that make biscuits.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother and I were out there. We had a kitchen table outside the kitchen because kitchens were not safe then. They had kerosene lamps or stoves.
Yeah.
So the smell would make you sick.
Yeah.
So I was in there waiting. And my mom turned her back, and I go, what was taking so long? And I grabbed the handle. And when I grabbed the handle, all that, all over my face.
Oh, wow.
My eyelids, all over my arms, my hands, even my chest.
Oh, wow.
I was toasted.
Oh, wow.
You could still see all the burn spots. And man, talk about
You got around when you were a kid. You did.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was one of the first kids in 1967 at the Shriners Burn Center,
Wow.
and I stayed there, I think 11 months,
Wow.
and they were doing plastic surgery every other week. I think they had me mummified. All I could see is my eyes because my face was like totally melted.
Wow.
And I have to say, the plastic surgeons,
You got lucky that nothing happened to your eyes.
well, I closed them, but I
Yeah.
mean, all this was, man, it's not even bad compared. It was like, you ever seen the cartoons with He-Man with Skeletor,
Yeah.
where you see his nose all burnt?
Yeah.
That's how I looked at first,
Wow.
and they had all kinds of skin and grafts, and I didn't care where they got it from because I didn't want to look like that.
Yeah.
And then when they started taking everything off, well, just the natural sunlight, it would burn the hell out of my skin. So I had to use the ointment, and man, it was like from one extreme to the other. And then with the kids teasing me, man, I grew up hating all these kids. But later on, when they seen how smart I was, they all wanted to be my friends. I don't need you. Never needed you before. And they seen when I was in third grade, I became from a total geek to almost a genius just by learning English. Because at that time, I didn't speak English.
No.
No,
Oh. Okay.
the whole time
So you only spoke Spanish at home.
up till about 8 or 9 years old,
Yeah.
because of my dad. My dad didn't speak English, so it was forbade.
Okay.
And my mom, I didn't even know. One day I was struggling with my homework when I was in third or fourth grade, and I was so frustrated because I know I'm not dumb. I know how to follow directions. I just didn't know the difference between a noun, a pronoun, and a verb. So I'm reading it over and over and over, and then my mom goes, and she tells me in Spanish, "What's wrong?" I told her, "I can't figure this out, mom." And I'll tell her in Spanish, and she looks at it and starts reading it in English, and I'm like, "What the?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked. She knew English the whole time, and so between her and my first girlfriend in third grade, the whole summer I spent learning English and how to enunciate properly. Because you're from Texas, you're gonna have that accent from
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, I got rid of the accent quick because my girlfriend, she was a hillbilly.
Hey, nothing better than a girl to make you learn a new language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she would let me. They had like 2 or 3 bikes, and she had a brother and a little sister. Well, when they were in school, she would bring me one of their bikes. Me and her would go riding around, and she'll say, "See that? That's the barn."
Mm.
And I'm like, "Okay." She'll say barn, and I didn't know if I say it right. I would say burn. No, no, not burn, barn.
Barn.
Until I got it right, and the river and all this,
Yeah.
everything that she saw, she wanted me to say.
Yeah.
Butterflies, ice. Because we used to go to at the end of the road was a packing house. We used to go over there
Yeah.
and grab ice to make snow cones
Uh huh.
because it was all crushed ice. They used to use to pack the vegetables, and the man knew me because my dad worked for him. So me and her would go get a bucket, make our own snow cones, and just watch the train. And man, we lived on the west side of the no east side of the train tracks, and the majority of the town was on the east side. But once the train was there, you couldn't cross in vehicles. We used to cross under the train walking, but it was stopped.
It was. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But when we,
I
but
mean, you were a
but
daredevil. You was
no,
moving, and you.
when we got older, me and my brothers, the train would be moving. We'd hop the train and go over the top,
I see what you
get to the
mean.
other side. And later on, one of my brothers started rolling under the tracks. I go, now that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And my dad caught him and whooped that shit out of him.
Yeah. I
And
would too if I was.
yeah. Well, then down the ways, about 2 blocks away, I think there was a train trestle where we used to go fishing. I used to go fishing a lot. And once the river froze, I mean, the creek, it was only probably as wide as those 2 doors. But a lot of fish used to go there because it came from the river.
Mm.
And we'd go in there. And once it used to freeze, we'd go and play hockey. We'd get a tin can and some sticks and be out there playing. And my brother Robert, I don't know how he always managed to get in trouble, but he fell through the ice.
Oh.
He fell to the ice, but it was only so deep because the water's low.
Okay.
His jeans were up to here, and as soon as he got out, started walking, I hear his because they froze.
Frozen. Yeah.
They froze, and we took off his shoes. His feet were already getting purple.
Yeah.
So me and my brother were carrying him. You stupid guy, you can get us in trouble. So we tried to get him home before my dad got home
Yeah.
from work. And we told my mom we couldn't hide nothing from my mom.
Yeah.
So she goes, just sit him right there. And she put hot towels on him and everything and put his pants to go dry somewhere else.
Yeah.
And after that, we didn't play hockey anymore. But
Sounds like you had a lot of fun with your
we had a lot
siblings.
of
You
fun,
had
but
a lot of
a lot
adventures.
of danger.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. I
stuff that
bet.
we did that I wouldn't even let my kids do.
Yeah. I did a lot of those things with my brother too. He'll
Yeah.
he'll
I
testify
mean,
to
it's
that.
easier when it's your brother and they're supposed to know better. But sometimes I'm the one to say, nope, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Why not? Because that's pretty stupid. And they'll say, man, you never. I go, that's why I won't do it because not stupid. But now after my burns,
Yeah.
uh, I think I had a near death experience with a car crash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think they were already born. The kids, my kids were born, and somebody just. I was turning on Manning before they made it. Well, this one highway before they made it double wide. It was just 2 lanes. Well, I was turning and I seen the car way at the other end of town. So when I started turning, before I finished my turn, that guy T-boned solid. I mean,
Ooh.
solid. So hard that the door for the passenger was right here at my hip.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
You were alone in the car?
yeah, I was alone. And at that time, seatbelts were required
Yeah.
or insurance. So when the CP asked me, "Are you okay?" I go, "Yeah, I think I got a little bit of glass in my hair, but it's kind of like slow, like with a concussion." Speaking back to him, he goes, "I don't know. You got a pretty good gash." And I go, "Where?" And he went like this, pulled out all kinds of glass, and then it started dripping blood.
Yeah.
I go, "I couldn't have got hurt." I go, "I was holding onto the steering wheel so hard." They go, "That's what you think." My head went from here to that corner
Oh
and
wow.
back from the
Yeah.
impact. And so for the next month, I was picking glass out of my hair
Wow.
and chunks, not little pieces.
Yeah.
And the next morning, my wife goes, "Well, I'm taking you to the doctor." I go, "For what?" I told her I refused the ambulance. She goes, "Yeah, but that's one thing. But the way you're acting, because I would walk and I felt like I was falling, like
Mm.
vertigo, like
Yeah. Yeah.
because of concussion. And to me, it's like, I've had worse. But no, went to the doctor and he goes, "Let me see your wallet." I thought, wow, he's gonna charge me already. So I give him my wallet. He opens it up. He goes, "Okay, so what's your full name?" I'm like, "It's right there in the wallet." "No, no, you tell me." And I couldn't remember my name to save my life at all.
Wow.
Not even the beginning letter, the last letter. "Where do you live?" I knew where I lived. I was pointing. We lived down the street from the clinic at the
Yeah.
apartments, but I couldn't remember the address. And he goes, "You got a severe concussion. If I were you, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna let you drive for a month, and you got to stay in bed for at least 2 weeks. And I got a prescription for your wife to give you." And this, I go, "I'm not gonna take all that." He goes, "You have to. You want to get your mind back straight. It's the only way it's it's
Yeah.
gonna work." And my wife didn't know how to drive.
Yeah.
That was the worst thing.
Sounds like you had a lot of uh,
Dangerous things.
well, aside from that, but you had a lot of caring people in your life
Oh yeah,
who, you know, helped you out, and you did the same for them. And
yeah,
it's like, you took care of each other
yeah,
through whatever was going on. So
yeah.
I, I, I hear that from all the stories you're sharing. I got two more questions
All
for you.
right.
Um, is there anything that you know you still want to do or figure out, or something that you're like, I haven't done that, or I haven't
I have some
figured that out?
I have some crazy adventures that I always told my kids about,
Yeah,
but like, I didn't feel the need that I needed to do any of that because they know how smart I am, so I didn't have to prove it. But I remember telling them when they were little, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be the first guy to have a built-in light into a barbecue pit because everybody is with their flashlight. Hey, is it done yet? Is it?" And then the battery dies out. There you go, biting another one or hanging a light.
Yeah.
But that light, you can't get it too close because what happens? It pops the light bulb. And I knew from working in the meat departments that infrared lights, they'll tolerate a lot of
Heat.
heat,
Yeah.
450 degrees, as a matter
Yeah.
of fact. And you don't need a lot of them, you just need one.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what troubled me was, do I run it off a 220 or do I run it on the regular 110?
One time. Yeah.
Well, the rotisseries were all on 220.
Okay.
So I go, man, that's a lot. That's a big building paying just to barbecue. But I never patented, never made the. I mean, I had the idea, but I never drew it out. And that's
That
one
well,
thing.
that's smart. You know, you were thinking about solutions
Yeah,
for
and
practical problems.
exactly because that seemed to be the number one problem when we were cooking.
Yeah.
And we used to cook from lunchtime till midnight sometimes. My mom, hey, aren't you guys done cooking? Yeah, but we only got some more.
Okay.
But other than that, well, I went to college too, right here in Reedley, for a mechanic. You know, to get certified. I was certified in 7 areas as
As a mechanic.
as a mechanic,
Okay.
ASC certified. I took the state test and everything.
Yep.
But I did it more for myself and my immediate family because they always needed help with their cars. I always got stranded, and I really taught my wife to drive, so I didn't want her getting stranded anywhere.
Hmm.
So I made sure everything was running on the up and up. And then we learned by experience. We're coming back from San Francisco one day, and I don't know what happened, but my radiator of my Oldsmobile that I had, it blew out.
Hmm.
And my daughter was there, my son, my wife. We had left her at the hospital because she was being afflicted. So then we are on, you know where Los Banos is, out
Hmm.
here
Hmm.
on Highway 152, pushing it all the way to try to get to Dos Palos off the freeway.
Wow.
And she was
How
good
long is
size,
that?
oh, a good 10 miles,
Wow.
but we only made it. We only made it about 5 miles to the corner, and I was tired. My son was the one steering, and he barely knew how to steer,
Yeah.
and he kept letting the key lock, and so he'll start going to the road. No, keep the key turned on. But he didn't know any better. I mean,
Yeah.
he was only what 6 or 7,
Yeah.
and my daughter, she was strong enough to help me, but I didn't want her getting all sick out there because
Yeah.
I was getting sick and it was hot.
Yeah.
We didn't have no hats
Yeah.
on, nothing,
Yeah.
and that was an adventure like I'll never forget.
Okay. Um.
But I got certified here at Reedley because I heard there was one of the best mechanic schools, and it was true. And I did it basically, like I said, for myself, for my family and stuff. And I had a lot of offers from different places, but I didn't want to work for nobody doing that
Yeah.
because you don't really make any money. Only if you're the owner is where you make money.
Yeah.
So that's just knowledge for myself.
That's still pretty
But
respectable
what
and
I liked
impressive.
about it, I mean, it wasn't hard for me because I've always been mechanically inclined.
Yeah.
Well, the 2 semesters that I went, or the 2 years that I went, I had a 4.0 GPA.
How old were you when you did that?
I think I was barely 30.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was impressed with myself because I hadn't read any book for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Since I got out of high school, I hadn't read anything.
Yeah.
So when I started reading, my eyes were going like this.
Yeah.
And I'd tell these guys, I don't want no noise for you guys. Go watch TV. I don't want to hear you
I
asking
need to
your mom.
concentrate.
Yeah. But it was the concentration, I had it, but the focus.
Yeah.
So I had to start using glasses because I read so much at nighttime. I was still seeing letters. I'll be asleep, all kinds of stuff. And
Yeah.
there's a lot to learn now with electronic ignition,
Yeah.
computers, sensors, and all that. And I kept up to date with everything.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah, because doing basic motors to me was nothing anymore
Yeah.
because I already did that. You know? And my professors here really, they told me, you know what? We really don't recommend anybody come back over here to teacher or be a teacher's aide or teach as a student. But we all three got together and decided, you know, you could do the job. So I tried, but their mom got real sick.
Yeah. You don't have
So
time for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
wanted to. I wanted to really bad.
Wow. I'm impressed by all the different jobs and skills that you picked up, based on necessity, and you had to just you did what you had to do. You learned what you needed to learn
exactly.
to earn a living, help yourself, help others,
Well,
and,
I
and
was
you and you really used your head. It seems
yeah.
like like I guess I feel from all the stories you're sharing, it seems like you're a quick learner. You used your intelligence and aptitude in that way, and you were adventurous and willing to like experiment, and you
Yeah,
messed with danger a little bit.
yeah, but to only to a certain point.
Yeah,
Where we got to the red mark, that's where I would stop.
we're like, okay, I'm not that crazy.
Yeah, not bad. I also learned one of my occupations was installing satellites. That was like my last main job.
Okay.
I did that for 7 years when Dish Network first started,
Yeah.
1998, and it was a pretty good moneymaker and stuff.
Hmm.
But it was sometimes some people's roofs are not safe.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. So last question is, this is gonna live for a long time. This video. So anything you want to say to your kids, to your family, to the world, anything you want to put out there.
Well, the only thing I can say is you're never told to learn and never give up.
Never too old to learn and never give up.
Yep.
I love that. I really respect that. So I have one question for Stephanie, um, but before I get into that, I just want to dig into what you just shared around you're never too old to learn and never give up. When do you think people, when in your life did you feel like giving up, and what happened when you didn't?
Well, only when their mom passed away, I didn't know which way to go.
Yeah.
So for 2 years, all I did was just drink
Yep.
and try to hide it. But I mean, you can't run away from it. So you have to turn around and face it and just deal with it.
And if you hadn't, if you you know if you did give up, I guess it would
Yeah,
be
it would probably have led to something not good.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, so Steph, my question, and feel free to answer however you want, is what would you like your dad to know?
I think that one of the amazing things about my dad that I'd like him to know is that we had a really amazing childhood, and he helped create that, not just for us but for our neighborhood. And so I often find myself telling stories about our neighborhood and how we very much grew up like the Sandlot, like the movie The Sandlot, where we played all the sports together, and we really had an amazing opportunity to be kids.
Mhm.
And that's due to my dad's hard work and his gentle manner, and his willingness to mentor other people and kids. And I feel like I take a lot of that from him. Um,
So what did you learn? What did you learn from him? Like looking back, like what like if you get a little bit into that, like what did he
I feel
do
like
that?
what I learned most from him was that providing or being an advocate is like kind of how I watched him um, connect with youth, um, give a lot of himself, whether it was a ride home for kids, or sometimes we would go to the swap meet looking for gloves for kids, like that I didn't even know who these kids were, but he was like, "Oh, Jose needs a glove," or Michael doesn't have pants. And so what I took from that was what I took from that was being willing to serve your community and be a part of your community in a way that is impactful to more than just yourself. And I think that it's such a blessing that I got to witness that firsthand and be able to be a part of that, and have an amazing childhood where we have so many memories. Just like hearing his stories, like my kids get annoyed and tired of hearing all the stories of when my dad would be like, and don't go into the water basin, and we'd come out with tadpoles in our hands and just doing mischievous kid things. And but he was also understanding and like fed our curiosity. So like I remember like sometimes, well, we had a VCR and all time like video games because my dad loved video gaming too, and just kind of staying on trend with kid things. And so I remember one time our VCR broke, and so my brother's like, "Oh, we can't watch movies. That's horrible, whatever." My dad's like, "Well, let's go fix it." And so we just go into the garage and we're just kind of like tinkering and seeing what we could do till we could fix it. And so I think his love of learning and his curiosity and just like the inquisitiveness of like, okay, the VCR broke. We weren't financially like in a place where we could just go buy a whole nother $200 VCR. So he's like, well, let's make the best of it, and just kind of learning those lessons alongside him. And another story I always tell is it's really funny because a lot of times when I go into places about cars, I get mistook as like someone who doesn't know or doesn't care or is like just a female in a space that's mostly, male dominated. And then when I start talking about car parts or things or what I think that is wrong with stuff, it like always blows people's minds. And I always like give my dad credit for that because he's like, I don't care if you're a girl, come into the garage. And we couldn't call the tools just whatever names. Like we never called the screwdriver star screwdriver. It was like, this is the Phillips and this is the flathead, and like taught us metric versus standard measurements and all of that stuff because that was something he enjoyed. And so we got to spend time with him in his element, and like he taught us how to navigate cars. And my brother's really good at working on cars too, by proxy, just like out of necessity, like we figured something out. But I think I really just have enjoyed like my dad's inquisitiveness and just like willingness to try something out or like figure it out. And I feel like it's been amazing to just like now kind of inherit that trait. And like where I know my girls get sometimes annoyed because I'm like, girl, we don't have money for that, so figure out how we're gonna fix it, or like let's see what we do. And I think that's one of like the really cool things, and I'm able to now pass that along to my girls. Giving to community today, we did a community event, and like, and my girls don't know any different, just like I didn't. I just thought it was normal that like, you serve your community, you be a part of your neighborhood. And like my dad said, like when we needed stuff, our neighbors were there for us. And so we really built um, an amazing community of people that supported us, um, when we needed it, but also we knew we were there to support them and their kids any day and any time. And I think it's one of those things that's really beautiful that like, when my dad got sick, a lot of young boys were like reaching out, or well, young then, but now my age, about how my dad has impacted their life and like what a role model he was to them. And so I want him to know that his his legacy is something that's going to continue to pay forward.
How do you feel when you hear that?
Well, a little overwhelmed because I never dwelled on stuff like that. I just did what I did, and that's all that I knew, know. And I'm glad my daughter came out the way she did. I never had to worry about her, as far as getting in trouble. My son, he kind of went by the wayside for a little while, but he came back to normal, and I'm happy for them, proud of them.
Absolutely.
And I felt like my brother takes a lot of that from my dad too. Like, um, when he knows like younger colleagues of his, or people that need help or support, like he very much is that person. And my brother is very straightforward and very like um outspoken in his own way, but he has a very kind heart and is really, you know, super into fishing and athletics and adventure, just like my dad. And we tease and say my brother's had like a cat. He's had like seven of his lives already have flashed before his eyes. So we just know that my brother kind of has taken after a little bit like my dad and having some of the life adventures that my brothers had, and it's been really nice to be able to kind of relive some of those memories and share those, and remind my brother of how far he's come,
Yeah.
from some of those crazy adventures and the things that he's done and how he would stress us out because he would do crazy things all the time,
Yep.
like drop a TV on me and jump off the
He was
balcony.
terrible. He was terrible,
In
that
the
kid.
best way, he was terrible.
But
And
I thank God that he let him live through a lot of that
yeah,
because he's a better person now.
yeah.
So, last question: in what way has your father, intentionally or not, really shaped you? You know, aside from what you
Hmm.
just shared, giving back to the community, but like, how who you are today
Hmm.
in your heart, you know, and if you can remember, moments that where he did something or said something, or over a period of time, I'm just wondering, his way of being, how has that shaped who you are
Hmm.
today?
I think it's most shaped me and who I am as a parent, if I'm honest. Like, I know that with my dad, like, he was the disciplinarian, not kind of, he was the disciplinarian of my two parents. And my mom was always just real soft and easygoing and just, no, it's okay. Everything's gonna be fine. It'll work out. Like one of the songs that we remember her best by was the "Don't Worry, Be Happy," because that's just kind of how she lived her life. It was just like
Yeah.
everything will be fine. It's all okay. But I think that I have. I'm blessed to be able to have a mix of both of my parents, where my brother will tease me and say, "You're too nice. You're too soft. You're too whatever." But I crave structure and I want my kids to have guidance and to be, I'm stern with them when I need to be. And I feel like I learned that from my dad, of being able to get like sometimes the tough love and sometimes like just a sense of direction and like and being more authoritative. And I think that one of the things that I love about that and is like I remember as a young kid, like my dad really shaping um my confidence and just like knowing that I was really smart, and like him and I would geek out about like funny stuff like math problems. Or I remember when I was like in sixth grade, because we had to learn all of the 50 states to like move on to the next grade level or whatever. And my dad's like, I've lived in half of those states, so we've got this. And so we would study after dinner, and then like we used to have like pamphlets or little questionnaires where it would ask like bonus questions. And so I'm like, oh, my dad knows everything. Like I'm gonna ask him. And so I'm like, Dad, who's Hank Aaron? And it was like random questions, and he's like, oh, this is who that was, and who's this, or what's Win Dixie? Like I never heard of that. And like us being Mexicans growing up in a city where it was 99.9% Mexicans, like we didn't know like fables or like American culture in that way. But my dad, because he had lived so many places and around like such a dynamic group of folks, like he knew a lot. And so it was always really cool and something that I took like joy in, and like we would bond over. It was like a lot of like nerdy stuff, like educational stuff. And I feel like I'm really proud to have gotten that like love of learning, and also just like being inquisitive and like figuring things out. And like so much so that, and my grandma also like really contributed to me feeling confident to know something or to ask questions. And she saved up money and bought me an encyclopedia set. And she's like, because I know you're going to be smart like your dad. And so like that was something that like I think I was able to um benefit from, like just because my grandma saw a lot of like how she needed to nurture that intelligence in my dad, and then that came tenfold to me because we had a special relationship, she and I, and like, and that's something I really enjoyed about like growing up. And so it's funny because now like people will say like you're always so confident, or you're always like so smart, or like you know all these things, and like you take information in and you can do, you know, some really cool stuff with it. And I'm like, and I always think about like it's because of the vote of confidence that my dad gave me, and like how he's like, oh, we'll figure it out. And it was always me understanding that like I had everything that I needed to be okay and to figure it out and to do things. And my dad trusted me with a lot of responsibility. Like a lot of times when my mom was sick, they would have to go, and my dad would be like, okay, you're gonna go to the grocery store at the end of the week with this check and like get groceries for you and your brother. And you know, aunts and uncles would help when they could, but sometimes it was like 3 or 4 days where we'd have to stay home unattended, and we were like 7 and 8 years old figuring it out, as my mom had a transplant in San Francisco. But like that's when our community came in and our neighbors would check in on us. Or I learned how to cook really early on because my dad's like, hey, you're gonna have to help make dinner. And so like we just kind of found ways to do that. And then um, I just feel really fortunate to have had that life experience and like really learned from my dad, and hearing his stories today, even like how much our lives have paralleled, and like having just different experiences or like things that could like, I think most other people dad would see that as like something that would have defeated them, like one of the things that we've
Yeah.
been through. But because of the resiliency that like you've shown, and like that I believe in, like that those things aren't something that would stop us from keep learning or to give up.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's one of the things that like even in our family, that I think that a lot of our family members like look to us because they're like, well, if I don't know, Laurel, Stephanie will figure it out, kind of thing. And I really appreciate that I have that um I guess just that gift of being able to feel confident to figure it out.
This was a pleasure. Thank you, Lauro.
No problem.
Great to meet you, sir.
You too. Oh, you dropped your.
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Yep. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Any last words before we?
Nah, it was a. I enjoyed this. That's all I can say. It's good for somebody else to hear because not everybody lives in the same world.